Hi everyone, my name is Zeph and welcome to the Star Network podcast. Today we have with us our special guest, Ife, who's the CEO and founder of Herconomy. Hi Ife, how are you today?
I'm good. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Amazing, it's great to have you. Can you share with us what Herconomy is about?
Fantastic. Everyone calls it Herconomy. It's actually Herconomy.
No!
But Herconomy is a financial technology company that allows people, especially women, to grow their wealth. And we do this in different ways. One, by providing high-yield savings accounts where people can save and earn up to 10% interest on their savings. We also have a plethora of brands who give people who save on our platform up to 30% discounts on different products and services that you need on a day-to-day. So we have pharmacies on board, we have spas, we have restaurants, we have different things that women typically are aligned to and use on a day-to-day. We also have a community that you can learn from and network from and collaborate with. So people who you can grow with. So we found from research that women typically like to be in communities and they feed off the energy of other women. So when they see, okay, person A was able to do this, for example, once you start having children, how do you navigate, your career and being a mom? They feed off the energy of other women who have gone ahead of them to also, do certain things. So understanding that, you don't have to put yourself under too much pressure. You can get help, you can get a support network. What does that support network look like? So when they see that other women have done all of those things, they become more confident to take advantage of those opportunities. That's why for us it was very important for us to have that community and have even community events where they can, from like month to month meet other women and they can just, all grow together.
Oh no, fantastic. I really like that. And it's so interesting. It's Herconomy. Yes. Correct. So when I see you post about Herconomy, the first thing is just, okay, it's a savings and investment platform, but I particularly like everything you've mentioned around just you're building a community for women to see, here's the blueprint, how other women are saving, how they're creating financial plans, etc. And I mean, you've pretty much answered my first question. I was going to just say, what was the motivation behind Herconomy? Is it that you had conversations with your community of women and this was a recurrent theme whereby people were saying they didn't know how to save money, they didn't know where to invest that money, or the interest rates are just not as attractive? So what was that driving force for you to begin the work?
Fantastic. That question is so key because when we first started out, we didn't necessarily think about anything financial services. So we first started out as a community, mainly just wanting to empower women to let them know that they could be whatever they wanted to be. So we started doing a lot of capacity building workshops and then the community events. But after speaking and interacting with about 1,500 women week after week, especially during the pandemic, we found out that at the top of the issues that women were facing was actually financial services, savings in particular. Women didn't know how to save. So I started thinking about it and looking back at my personal story. I was working in 9 to 5. I had a fantastic job, and I was literally living from paycheck to paycheck. So it wasn't even about people who were not, cerebral or people who didn't have good jobs. Even for some of us who actually had good jobs, we're not necessarily thinking about saving or investments or taking risks. So we even found out that when I did a lot of research, I saw that even women who were at the top in their careers, when you compare them at the point of retirement to the men, you would find that a lot more men had more assets in comparison to the women. So what was the difference between the men and the women at that point in time? It was financial literacy. They were not educated. They did not know where to, put their money in. They didn't trust the system. So we realized that, if we did this in groups, if we had, a vetting process of, different investment opportunities or a place where you can get high yield savings accounts, then it becomes an easier process. So that's why we decided to then pivot to financial services and now have a savings app. And we started little by little. First, we started with small savings challenges. People came together, we saved, we encouraged them, and we started finding out that some women would say, oh my gosh, I didn't know that this kind of money passed through my hands every day. Just the fact that they could automate their savings, made a lot of difference for them. In fact, this morning I got an email from someone who said in her life she had never saved 200,000 naira, but because of the Herconomy app, she's now been able to save 5 million naira. I was when I saw the email, I was oh my gosh, there's a huge gap
impact,
from 200,000 naira to 500,000 naira. I even had a friend who schooled abroad, everything, you think that, this person has a lot of knowledge and everything. And she came to my office crying to me one day and she said, Ife, I've never in my life seen 1 million naira in my account at once. And she had a fantastic job. So literally, when she was getting her job and she was getting paid, It was going out all the time. And then we did a savings challenge, and the challenge was to save 1 million naira by January this year from September last year, and she was able to do that. So it just showed me that there's a lot of literacy that needs to happen, especially for women, and we needed that safe space where women could actually, trust. And what actually even pushed us, something that pushed us over the edge, was because there was a time we wanted to do a company, a financial services organization, actually approached us to say that they had loans to give out to women, and it was single digits and all of that. And at the time, we were not thinking about it. It was something that we thought about to do further down the line. First start with savings, and then eventually we'll tackle loans. But because this was a big organization, they already had a finished product that they came to approach us with. And we had done the campaign, we had shot videos, we're excited, we're like, oh, this is going to be a fantastic opportunity for our community. And the day we announced, they had even announced it on their website. The day we announced, they came back to us and said, oh my God, we can't give this particular interest rate, it has to be changed. Everything just went to a lower rate, to a higher rate. Oh, no. To like double digits. So it just made us look like a scam. And I was like, why do organizations always have to do this? Why do women have to go through this thing over and over again, where they cannot get like affordable loans so that they can grow their businesses? And because of over the years, since 2018, we've been giving out grants to women. We've seen that something as little as 200,000 naira, 500,000 naira grants makes a huge difference in their businesses. So we're thinking, why do women have to go through this? Why are loans such a big deal? Why can't women also save? Why are they not earning enough to save? So a lot of it was tied to like opportunities that they had access to, information, knowledge sharing, financial literacy. So we decided, you know what, we're going to take the bull by the horn and see what we can do ourselves in bits. So we started with savings, and then we're growing into other products. And I'm
that's fantastic. And I love how Herconomy is able to just provide like a holistic 360 view. It's not just, hey, here is a savings platform, we want your money and come and take interest at the end of the day. Is that you're genuinely concerned about the financial health of every customer. You're interested in the financial knowledge in terms of, this is why you should save. This is how we can help you. And I like what you said about the case study of the loans business, because I think, getting loans today in Nigeria is something that is very difficult just across the retail markets. Traditional banks typically don't like giving out loans to customers. They want to give it to an institution where the risk is a lot lower. And I do understand that. And it's something that when I look at, I'm like, but yes, the risk environment in Nigeria is quite high. And then secondly, it's also very difficult to even just be able to figure out like the credit risk of like your consumers. So therefore nobody really wants to give out loans unless like it's like, as you said, somebody can pay back a really high interest rate. But I like that Herconomy is saying, no, actually let's start finding alternative ways to help people. If it's not loans because maybe the rate is too high and people can't necessarily afford it down the line, then why don't we do grants? And I went on your website, and when I saw the grants opportunities, I was like, I want to ask Ife more about this. Like, how are you able to find the right partnerships and opportunities to bring grants? And then another question on top of that is, as much as I see Herconomy and I want to put my money, I think there's this knowledge around like safety. Is it safe to put my money here? Like, how do you guarantee the security of people's money coming into their accounts? Like, I'm going to get my principal back, I'm going to get my interest back. How does that work?
Fantastic. And I'll start from the end. So as a company or as a policy, we've decided not to actually do loans today because of the risk attached to it. And I'll say risk because to be honest, women are actually safer to give money to, and there's a lot of research that backs this up. But yeah, there's a lot of research that women actually pay back in comparison to men. But it's funny that you'd see a lot of organizations actually giving the loans to men, right? But why we have actually taken this route is because we want to take things in bits. We don't want to just say, okay, you know what, we don't want to risk the investments from our users. So for example, if any organization that is going to do loans, and especially at the beginning, they'll have to use customer funds, and you don't want anything to affect the money that your customers are giving you. So what we've done as a company is to only work with credible partners. In fact, a credible partner, because we don't want a situation where money is going missing. So we work with an investment organization that is SEC licensed. Exactly. So your money is guaranteed. They are long-standing. All of that is checked. We only do very minimal. We don't do any high-risk investments. So since we started, we've never had any issue of a customer not being able to collect their money whenever they wanted to collect their money. So we ensure that we're only working with certified partners. So we work with a commercial bank and we work with an asset management organization so that customers' money is safe. So your money, don't worry, nothing is
guaranteed.
Yeah,
that's
guaranteed.
all I wanted to know.
Nothing bad is going to happen.
Fantastic.
To your money. And a lot of organizations actually get greedy. So you'd find people have actually approached me. They have these real estate projects that if we invest in it, they can give us 30% interest and all of that. And you get carried away because you're actually in control of the funds, but you have the responsibility to actually take things slow. Even though for you right now as an organization, your interest rates are not going to be high, you're not going to be getting high margins, but you first need to think about the safety of your customer and know that you cannot take any high risk investments. What happens if that building comes crashing down? What happens if they cannot continue or complete the project at that time they want to complete the project? So you have to be very, very careful where you're putting your money in. And I believe that the customers who are banking or saving their money right now today with Herconomy actually trust us because of our history. For example, our customers are actually our investors. So we have a lot of customers who actually were community members who actually invested in us when we actually decided to pivot. Yes, so a lot of them have put their trust in us, so we cannot, let them down.
No, I like that you said that, and I think if it also shows like the integrity to how you're running like a business, and I think the audience can learn a lot from that, because someone may look at Herconomy as a case study and say, oh, I want to build like a savings or a digital financial literacy platform to help people save and invest their money, and then they forget the core values of what does that actually mean. Is it just to provide a warehouse wallet system whereby people are depositing money, I'm giving them interest, and sometimes there's this chase of I want to be the one that is giving the best interest on your savings, so therefore they start partnering with all kinds of institutions that are not credible, that are not licensed. And I like what you said, that one, you have an asset management house company that is licensed, it is definitely guaranteed, regulated by SEC. I think those are like the nitty-gritty details that people need to be able to look at, and they can learn from Herconomy from that. So I'm happy that you've mentioned that. But on the partnership angle, I think also it's really cool that you guys are not just, hey, save your money with us, but you're thinking about the empowerment of these women. Okay, you have a business, your business hasn't scaled. What can we do to help you? Because the way that I see savings, it's a long-term gain, right? Like, it's going to take time, it takes discipline, consistency, and it's also a bit of a volume game. The more that you put in, your interest just seems like more. But the grant aspects, it sounds great. So can you share more on those partnership opportunities? How have you been able to pull that together?
Fantastic research, pretty much. We because that's how we started, right? I started by writing a book on accessing grants. A lot of people at the time, I think 2015, when I started my business, the first business I actually did, I was always seeing the same people in the room. It was always the same people, same faces, and I was like, I needed to democratize opportunities. So at first I started, teaching people in small bits, but I realized that it was taking too much of my time, and I had a business to run. So I said, okay, let me write a book that people could just grab and read the book and understand how to apply for grants, how to search for these grants, and all of that. And that was how AGS Tribe at the time, which eventually turned out to be Herconomy. Yes, so we researched all of these grants, and luckily for us, because of the credibility and because of the impact over the years, a lot of people, organizations actually want to partner with us. So far, since we started, we've given our grants to over 50 people, and we've seen tremendous growth, in their businesses, from them even like now, getting like factories, to them employing more people, to them even having a better outlook on their own lives, to them sending their children to better schools, to some people even moving, and just getting a better life and expanding their businesses to other countries. That we had a beneficiary who now had like 27 distributors in different countries. But before we came into her business, she was literally, she didn't even have money to come and pick up the grant. That was how low it was. But she started learning, getting more information on how to pitch, just little things that make the difference. In fact, our winner from last year, who won a grant from us, she was a street sweeper. She used to sweep the streets before, and before every pitch we always do like a training to teach them how to present their businesses. Storytelling is key and stuff like that. And eventually she won. So she won 1.5 million from us, and somebody from the audience, one of our investors, actually doubled the money she won. Eventually, the governor of her state heard about how she won the grant, and they invited her over, and eventually invited her to Liberia with them, showcasing her to the Liberian government. Eventually, she came back, and now she's opened like a gallery. I think it's even the first gallery in her state for recyclable materials.
So her business is to recycle?
Yeah, to recycle,
okay.
yes. So from going from a street sweeper to her seeing like tires and, recyclable products, and now turning that into a business, and now getting all of this visibility, and now even working with the government to, make her business better. And that's what empowerment is about. You're transforming not only her life, but also the life of people around her.
It's a domino effect.
Yes.
And it's so funny, as you were speaking about this, I was like, I do feel like Herconomy can do more to narrate these successes, because if, as you're saying this, I'm like, okay, when I get home, I'm now going to take it seriously. I'm going to like download the app. But I feel like people like to see these impactful success stories, because when you read about it and when you see it, you then realize the magnitude of it's beyond just you're putting your money here to like get an interest at the end of like a month or 6 months, but it's that there are opportunities, right, for your business to thrive, or if not even for you to be able to then recommend someone else. So I think there should be more of like the communication about it. And I feel every time I've seen you always say, yeah, I'm gonna like talk about this more. You actually should.
Yeah, I know it's actually overwhelming, but I know that we need to do more in documenting the stories. We actually try a little bit, but sometimes you just get overwhelmed with a lot of all the other projects that come on board. But yes, we'll definitely take that feedback on board to document the stories.
Fantastic.
Yes,
and just before we move on to like other topics, there's a new product you guys launched, Kiddo Save, and when I saw it, I do love anything with trust, especially like in context of like our market. I feel there just isn't enough like how to like maintain like legacy, generational wealth for your kids. We don't really have that knowledge. So when I saw Kiddo Save, I was like, okay, cool. Can you share more about it? Is it just a traditional trust? How does it stand out?
So Kiddo Save is something that I started because personally, and even when you even do research, you see a lot of people not necessarily thinking about their children when they get older, and they don't know that it happens on a whim. Like I had my daughter yesterday, and now she's 9 years old. And when I had her, there are people that naming ceremony, they'll come, they'll give me money, and you just spend it on sweets and stuff like that for the kids. But imagine if I was keeping that money in her account and how it would have grown. We actually had someone from within the community who passed on, who was killed by her spouse, and he eventually killed himself, and we decided to as a community come together to raise money for the kids, because they had 2 kids at the time, and just putting that money away in a trust for the children, and me just knowing that the children are fine every month, they're getting money. I understand that the effect of children having something as they get older, whatever it is, whether it's for their education, whether it's for when they get married, whether it's for them to buy their first house, it's always important for you to start it from the beginning, because you always think, oh, I'll get rich one day I'll do it, one day I'll do it. But it's important for you to start it early on. So I decided, after speaking to a lot of women, and we even getting feedback from our users saying, oh, I want to save for my children, but we wanted it to be done in a more professional way. Not that they'll say, oh, they're saving for their children in, let's say, Vault. Vault is one of our products, which is like the fixed deposit product. Wanted them to intentionally save for their children. And it's all about, the mindset. If you save it in your child's name, if you know that, okay, you're uploading a birth certificate, you're actually opening an account for your child, then the mindset is different. You're not thinking about touching it tomorrow or in the short term. Is more for the long term. And I have friends who their parents started saving for them from when they were children, and I see how the benefit of that today. They can do different careers, that they have a wider range of opportunity just because their parents thought about it from when they were younger, as opposed to some other families, even though they came from a well-to-do home, but because there was no proper planning, that the children have to either be lawyers or doctors, they have to be in a fixed bank, they have to do this, they have to do that, not knowing that there are different routes to success. You can actually be an actor, you can actually be, like I saw a young lady some days ago who actually featured in the Disney movie. Little things like that. You can actually start from somewhere and become a superstar. But if you don't give them the opportunity to have that wide range of opportunity, and it starts from there, money, let's not lie, money gives you a lot of opportunity to do whatever you want to do. You can walk out of a job that doesn't necessarily align with your values, but if you know that I have to do this job to eat, eat for just your basic needs. You would not explore some of the other talents that God has put in you. So I think it's important for you to, you never know tomorrow. Anything can happen. Your parents might be doing well today, something might happen tomorrow, and they're not necessarily, life just changes up for you. So it's important for you to at least plan to give your children that cushion and have that structure to give them other opportunities in life.
I think you're really, you've said something that is just so true. And I think also particularly for our generation, whereby we have this mindset that if you're born into wealth, or if you come from a well-to-do family, like, it's always going to be there. You just assume. And, like you said, life actually does happen. But I think I like what Herconomy is doing to sort of say, you change that mindset. So even if it's not something your parents have done for you, you who is growing and who is more aware and who's learning, start changing that mindset. And why I like things like Kiddo Save is I don't even need to wait until I have children, right? I'm going to have children in the future, so why don't I just start the planning now? And I think the more that people start planning futuristically, like you said, it gives that child a range of opportunities in the future. So I think from a traditional mindset of Nigerian parents, first you must, finish your degree, you must do whatever, and then after your degree, you can explore the opportunities. So I think it's great. But I mean, it sounds like Herconomy is so like 360. You've shared so much. I know our audience is going to learn from it. But just moving on to like more of like management of your different things that you do. You said something. You said the reason why you don't share the stories is that it can become overwhelming. And that really resonated with me. And I think a lot of young people who, have that startup businesses or even aspiring to try something and they're doing it 9 to 5, it does get very overwhelming. I know that you're also like, youth advisor to the World Bank. How are you able to just, manage all these multiple passions?
Girl, thank God you said passion. It's because I'm actually really, really passionate about it. So growing up, I saw so many things. I saw a lot of people not having access to different opportunities. I saw a lot of people who were victims of domestic violence. I had an auntie, growing up, and when she met her husband, both of them, they didn't have anything. I think maybe she did like HND or something, him too the same. But eventually he started having a lot of money, and then things changed. The dynamics of their relationship changed. And he didn't let her work. He didn't let her go back to school, and all of these things she wanted to do. There were times when my mom would say, come to Dubai to me, come, let me show you how to buy things and come and sell and stuff like that. But he never allowed her to do it. He even used to tell her, if you start doing it, your hand will be like this. It was a mess. And he died at almost 40. And she had 3 children. And I just saw that I just spoke to her one day. I think I was 18 at the time, and she was like, maybe she should move to one particular area. I was like, no, don't move there. Move to one particular other area where I feel like your children can benefit from. There'll be more opportunity in that area. And fortunately, she listened to me. I was 18. I was very young. She listened to me, and then eventually she moved to that area. She started like a cement business, and then eventually started doing blocks and supplying blocks and all of that. Today she has a house, her children finished school. Her children went to Babcock. Now one of them is in the UK, is in tech, has a fantastic job. It would have been a different story, right? So for me, I've always been passionate about things like this, for you to always have and take advantage of opportunities that you have, no matter your background. So I started understanding that if you want to do this, you have to get into development work. You have to be able to advise people, and you have to talk from a place of credibility. So if I saw opportunities where I could volunteer, I would take advantage of the opportunities. So I saw an opportunity, for example, this World Bank opportunity that I spoke about from the Autonomous Entrepreneurship Program. There's so many people in that program. So every year, the foundation picks about 1,000 people to give grants to help their businesses. And from there, other opportunities come along. So they used to give they still actually give $5,000 to 1,000 entrepreneurs every year. I think over time, they've increased the number of people, but it's still the same amount that they give. And a lot of people applied for it, but a lot more people didn't apply for it. A lot of people that would think, it's $5,000. I've had people tell me, those sort of comments, it's just $5,000. It's not really going to move the needle of my business. But I always tell them that is more. It might surprise you. Apart from that, it's even not just about the money. It's also about the network that you build, the opportunity that comes from it. So from that opportunity, I got they sent a random email one day and said, the World Bank is looking for youth advisors to be on the board for one of their coalitions called S4YE, which is under their job division, to encourage or help more people get into jobs. There's a target of 150 million jobs by a certain year, and I applied. And fortunately, I was selected. I think I was the only one or two people selected from Nigeria. And we're like a board of right now today, I think 17 people. So we have like meetings and, like just different discussions on how, we can push the narrative forward. And that was one opportunity. The other opportunities, like going to Egypt with a team for exporting opportunities. So I got into that program with another business that I was doing. There were just different opportunities. So people don't realize the impact of these things. And I got into this program in 2016, and I've gotten so many more opportunities from that beyond that has moved me and given me more opportunities beyond $5,000, right? So I tell people, these opportunities are there, but if you don't tap into it, obviously the opportunities are not as many as the number of people in the world, but you have to put your best foot forward, and you have to also be committed and add value to whatever organizations that you're attached to. It's definitely a passion project. We've helped so many people get into fantastic jobs. In fact, today I was still talking to the Amazon team, because we've had like almost 10 people get into Amazon since we started our partnership with Amazon. And Amazon is a global organization on every standard. It's the dream company for a lot of people. So I feel like and that's one of the ways you can actually continue to create wealth. The better job you get, the more opportunity that you have, the more money you get to continue to grow your wealth. So it's also part of some of the ways or some of the platforms that we also try to help people. So it's definitely a passion project for me, getting more money into the hands of women, and whatever way that I can, I try to tap into it. And it's overwhelming. Yes,
it is overwhelming, but like you said, like it is something you're passionate about, and I love how you're able to tie like your personal experiences to then motivate you to then build something, or let's break the cycle of like poverty with women, or even just like mindsets, because something that you said is, if you didn't advise your auntie, she probably wouldn't have taken that direction, and you don't realize that advice is actually, it becomes generational. It's beyond just the present, but what will happen to the children and the children's children. So it's full circle. But you also said something. You said it's about just putting your best foot forward, and I can actually relate to you on a story of just like applying for things. Like you see all these online applications, or there's an opportunity here, the UN is doing something, or the World Bank, or whatever institution that you are more attracted to or aligned to, correct? And people see it and they overlook it. I know that I'm personally guilty of that. I kind of just say, I don't know what the application process is going to be like. I'm tired. Is it going to take like a month or
Am
something?
I going to be selected?
Am I going to be selected in the first place? So you already put yourself down. But similar to you, I remember an opportunity that I had seen online, or rather I had told myself, there was a period I told myself I'm going to be more vocal about the things I'm passionate about, similar to you, very like development aspect is what I studied. And when I did that, a friend then recommended me to someone. She was like, there's this program and they're looking for like young people to apply, and it's in partnership with with the UN. And I applied for it. It's actually called Nexus, and I always advocated to people based on my experience. And I applied for it just to attend the conference, and I think it was one of those things where you can apply and pay and you'll definitely get in. So I got in, but then on top of that, there was this like mini focus group where they said, okay guys, we're doing like a brain trust session. We're going to take maybe like 20 people apply, and you actually then be like a UN delegate for the day. So you can imagine my excitement. I saw it and I said, well, if I already got into the global program, there's no reason why I shouldn't at least try. I didn't think, I just did it from a place of, I have nothing to lose. And when I applied, I got the email that said, you've been selected as one of the 10. And
your confidence will be,
girl. Till today, that picture, I think I even want to pin it on my Instagram. So
please pin it,
So when I look at things like this, it's a reminder, and it echoes everything you said, that sometimes the bar is so low in terms of people just putting their best foot forward. So we assume so many people are applying, I'm not going to get it. It will shock you that only 10 people have applied. That are waiting for you to put your foot forward.
That is it. Yeah. Anytime we do even the Herconomy Enterprise Challenge, you'll be looking for, where are these women? Where are they? And some of them tell you, I don't have opportunity. Apply for this one
and see.
So yes, you have to, like, in fact, yesterday I was applying for an opportunity. I had seen it. I had told myself since last year that this grant, I must apply for it. And the grant came, and I was looking at it, and I was saying, tomorrow I'll apply. And then in my head, I was thinking it was closing today. So I was like, no problem. If Sunday, you are going to get it on. Sunday, I wanted to apply. I just saw that I couldn't submit. I was like, God, no, you can't do this to me. I know that if I apply for this thing, I'm going to get it. God, please. And then eventually I was able to finish the application. My point is, you'll be surprised how many people look at these things and be like, this thing is too far-fetched, I might not be selected. But you have to just know. I applied for Mandela Washington Fellowship 3 times before I got selected. And guess what? I knew my application was banging. In fact, the first one I got shortlisted, but I didn't get in after the interview. The second one, I didn't even get shortlisted at all. The third one, I got shortlisted, got through the interviews and everything. But my point is, it was not for me at that point. When I thought about it, eventually when we got it, it just probably wasn't the right time. You know, sometimes you just have to just keep putting your best foot. And guess what? I was even helping other people review, because I know that I can apply for these things very well. You know, when you've applied for so many things, it becomes easier for you. So I used to help people even review the applications. A lot of them were selected.
Oh my goodness.
It, like years before I got selected. So I knew that it wasn't about my own application. It just shows you that sometimes for some of these other bigger opportunities, there are a lot more people, in fact, across Africa who are applying for that same opportunity, but you still have to apply. If you don't apply, you don't get in. You don't have that opportunity. But when you apply, and apply very well, get your friend to review it, or get somebody who was part of that program to look at it, so that, you know, you have a better understanding of how to better position your business. Because trust me, we have so many people doing amazing things, they just don't know how to tell their stories properly. So yeah,
no, that's amazing. And I mean, I personally feel like quite motivated after this, because I have a list of things, like, you know, when you have like your bucket list of, okay, I'm going to apply to this thing or this fellowship or this particular, and then the year goes by, you're like, oh, 2022, I still haven't done the application. So no, this is actually super encouraging. But let's touch on, you mentioned the partnership with Amazon, and I know they did a partnership with Herconomy. What was that about?
So basically, Amazon was trying to recruit female talent into their engineering services unit or department, and they reached out to us. So we started the partnership in 2021, and we've renewed the partnership year after year, and they're very excited about the turnouts. Like, people have gotten into Amazon. Some people have been contracts, some people have now been made permanent. We've had people who are also like more experienced hires who have also gotten into Amazon. So it's just exciting to see that, even though, because Amazon actually came to do the trainings, you know, how to interview at Amazon and all of that. But guess what? The interview tips are relevant across board to other organizations. So even if you don't get into an Amazon, you can get into a Google, or you can get into another organization. So it's just about learning and unlearning everything you've learned before, and just learning how, you know, people are doing things in the modern day. You know, a lot of people are still stuck in the way of doing things from, you know, what they thought they when they were in school 10 years ago. But we need to continue learning. We need to continue networking. You know, I even got a call from someone else who saw what we were doing with Amazon and said, oh, someone at Amazon actually recommended them to us to come and help them with hiring, you know, female talent. So because we have a community of amazing women that I'm always very proud to show off, people come and meet us for those kind of opportunities, that we know that, you know, your core is actually financial services, but we know that you have these women who are talented, these women who will probably need this opportunity or this kind of opportunity. Share the opportunity with them. So
that's amazing. So essentially, Herconomy was then like a talent pool,
exactly, a pipeline for Amazon.
That's amazing. And I think the thing is, people don't even realize that in these community programs, there are wider global opportunities, because I think sometimes the mindset can be so limited to, oh, what am I actually going to get from it? Or it's just maybe another talk show, or come to this conference. I think that's a lot of the mindsets people have. But it sounds like Herconomy, because you've been doing this for time, you're able to then broaden, guys, it's not just local opportunities, but there are international opportunities that can actually help your business to become visible. So that's great. But how do you manage, and you know, you said all these things, you're passionate about them, but you know, back to and you didn't answer it, how do you manage your time? How, like, what centers you? How do you, as much as you're trying to create impact, how do you ensure that you yourself as Ife, you feel grounded? How do you ensure that you feel rejuvenated to then be a better helper to your employees or the community that you're building today? What do you do that centers you?
First, I'm not even going to say I'm a superhero, that, you know, everything is just so easy. I have a fantastic team that actually keep me grounded. So they help me a lot. So there are a lot of things that, you know, go through them that, you know, they just come and meet me and say, okay, is this okay? Sign off on it. So the stress is not 100% on me. There are people around me, you know, that help, you know, lower the burden. Yeah, so I think that's how best that's how I stay grounded, because if I didn't have that help, it would be extremely difficult for you to do everything that you want to do. Because as human beings, you know, sometimes you feel like you're an octopus. You feel like, oh, you can do everything at the same time, but you can't. Yeah, you can't. So I have a good support system at work and a good support system at home as well. So I don't necessarily think about things like, oh, okay, every day I have to take my children to school and pick them up by myself every day. If I have a meeting, like for example today, I had this, I knew that on autopilot the nanny is going with the driver to go and pick up the children from school. So as women, we need to give ourselves grace. I know that if you're somebody who wants to further in your career, or if you're somebody that is just building, because there'll get to a time where you'll be more relaxed, but at this point where you're just building and everything, you need to have that structure, that support system that actually helps you. And my passion drives me, so sometimes it doesn't really seem like work. So when you're talking about something that you actually enjoy, or when you're doing something that you actually enjoy, it doesn't necessarily seem like work. A lot of people tell me that, oh, Ife, you're also always there for your friends. How do you do it? If you want people to be there for you, you have to be there for people.
Them,
you have to show up for people, no matter how tired you are. Sometimes you can go there and sleep, but they know that at least you made the effort to come. Yeah. So I'm a believer of showing up, no matter what, no matter how, whatever time it is. I just try to show up, and and sometimes when you cannot show up, people will understand
because your default is to be there.
Yes, exactly. I just tell people, just show up. Once you have that mindset that, okay, you're not just only taking from people, you also want to add value to people, then, the conversation gets easier.
Yeah, I think that's very powerful. And I think a lot of people can learn from that, myself included. I think it's very easy to just sort of, when you're building, you can get very insular because you feel overwhelmed or exhausted. But also the thing that you said is, sometimes it doesn't feel like work. And now I have this belief that, how do you know the thing that you're supposed to do? You can do many things, especially if you're someone that's passionate, do many things. But the thing that doesn't feel like work, where literally like at night you can wake up and start writing in your notepad, gravitates more towards that thing because it becomes natural and that thing is more scalable. But yeah, you've shared some solid points. So I usually ask people before they go, what is your favorite quote and why? But before that question, I want to ask, have you ever gone through like I would call it like a business mistake or a challenge that you faced in your business that you want to share with us that people can learn from?
So I think one of the challenges that I would like to highlight is not dotting my I's and T's when it came to a legal partnership, when it came to partnership, like not getting a lawyer to actually look at the nitty-gritty of the kind of partnership that I was signing. In business, you have those things are very, very important because it can, in the future, come back to bite you. So there was a time when I was going to a partnership with someone, and, at that time, the business in my head was, what we're trying to gain from that business was 50-50. But I just thought, okay, while we now, 50-50, that's okay. You have that in binding. But when we actually started, doing it, we realized that, I was putting in like 80% of the work. I was the one like bringing in a lot of the customers. I was the one that was always going to the sites to see the customers and stuff like that. And eventually it became very, tiring, and we couldn't go back on the terms because we hadn't actually said, okay, if this is your own responsibility, this is your own responsibility. So that taught me a big lesson in business, that you have to actually define roles whenever, you're going into a partnership. So I think that's one business.
And I think that's huge because I feel like that could also be like the crux of what causes a lot of like issues with partnerships and founders. And I also find that even just from speaking to you, there tends to be a trend like with a lot of like startups whereby your idea is so powerful and it's like you're running so fast, you just forget like the legal aspects or the regulation aspect. And maybe sometimes people also don't feel like they know where to go. So they assume, oh my God, these big law firms, are they really going to have time for me? But I think they'll be surprised that they're actually trying to invest more into startup businesses. So thank you for sharing that with us. So what is your favorite quote and why?
Do it afraid. So I always tell people there's everything I've done. In fact, I'm hosting something on Friday and I'm so scared. But all my friends, they've told me, Fair, you've done it over and over again. You'll be fine. But I'm shaking. I feel going to come. Is it going to be worth it? Is it going to be this? Is it going to be that? I hope I don't get dragged. All sorts of fears. You just have to continue doing it afraid because you don't know how it will turn out. You don't know who will be impacted by just seeing what you're doing, by just taking that charge or taking that lead to actually stand for something. So I think that's my favorite because I'm scared of every step I take. I'm
just like that.
Yeah. Correct. So it's just continue to just do it afraid. You don't know which one will click, which one will stand out. You don't know what would work. You just have to continue pushing.
I really like that. It has been so great having you and to speak on Herconomy. I think our audience has learned so much. So guys, you've heard from Ife everything that Herconomy is building about savings and investing, and also like an empowerment aspect for women who have businesses. And of course, if you want to be able to access like global opportunities as well, Herconomy is the place to be. Don't forget to follow us at the Star Network Pod on YouTube, on Instagram. We also have X and TikTok now. And most importantly, if you want to learn more about Ife and what they're doing, don't forget to follow their social media handle. Ife, what's your handle?
Hi, my handle is at Ifedayo on Instagram, and our business page is at Herconomy. It's very clear. It's HERCONOMY. So follow us on Instagram and Twitter.
Awesome. Ife, it's been so wonderful to have you. And until next time.
Thank you.